Um, James, we're aware of what's happened with Kevin Ellis, and what can you say about it, please?
Yeah, Kevin was attacked over the weekend. So he sustained facial injuries, which will leave him out for a period of time. So from that point of view, it's now under investigation, which I won't be able to comment on that any further. Hopefully you can respect that. Kevin is okay. Spoke to him every other day, and he's in the safe hands of the medical team.
Can you give us any details on where and how this attack took place?
It happened over the weekend, so that's all I can give at the minute, Rob. If that's all I can say right now.
Was it a club night out or just a night out with others?
It was the players' night out, so it happened then. So Kevin hasn't done anything wrong. I've known Kevin well enough that I know what he said is the truth. So I have no issues on that side of it. It was only Kevin involved. So that's all the information I can give right now.
How long do you think he will be sidelined? What are you planning for? I know you're not a medical person, so you can't say. And can you tell us anything about the extent of the facial injuries?
I'm probably looking at 6 to 8 weeks, and that's all I can give right now because it's still under investigation.
And he is okay. That's the main thing.
Yeah, he still is chirpy self, which is a good thing. So he's still able to talk and chat and give me a bit of stick and the lads a bit of stick. So he's okay. He's okay.
And you don't know whether this was anything to do with his Newport County connections at all?
I don't know. I have no idea.
No. Okay. Obviously, it's a blow, isn't it? Because you've been using him. He's been a regular in your squad.
Yeah, and he'll still play a part from a coaching perspective, from my point of view. So he's someone I lean on with his experience, and so does the players. And like we spoke about young Finn on the weekend, what he thinks of him. So nothing's changed on that side of it. So with regards to his input and his influence around the building, that'll still be there.
And the fact that he's still chirpy means he can still talk despite the facial injuries.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
And just a bit of housekeeping. Was this a sanctioned night out? You said last week the club wouldn't be organising a party, but you've got no problems with. I don't know whether it's a party or not. I don't want to get into that. This is not Downing Street. But
no, the thing is with government guidelines at the minute, and players are human beings at the end of the day, and if they want to go out and have a drink together, it wasn't a case of that I've organised it for them. They've gone out, and I have no problem with that. And you talk about team bonding, team togetherness, and I have no issue with it, and I don't at all. So they can do what they do outside of football. They have private lives. I respect that. They respect that the boundaries that they live within from the guidelines set, and I have no doubt that is the case, and I trust them implicitly.
Fine. Do you have any other outstanding injuries or absentees for Rochdale tomorrow?
Yeah, Fish won't be available. We're just waiting on a result back off a PCR test, so he's came back on a lateral flow, so he's not a close contact to anybody, which has worked out quite well in that sense. So it's just Fish will be out, and Scott Bennett is a precaution that he won't be available either for the weekend.
Is that because of COVID as well, possibly?
No, that's injury related.
Right. And Alex Fisher, just to clear up, he had a positive lateral flow and he's waiting for a PCR now.
Yeah.
I must ask you about the COVID stuff. Obviously, plenty of games off. You're clearly confident Rochdale goes ahead. What about the increased protocols? How has that affected the club this week?
Well, we're only going into red protocol these next couple of days, so we're quite vigilant at the club to ensure that we follow the guidelines as best we possible, and we've got an excellent medical team who drive that forward, and I support them in what we do, and we'll ensure that we meet the guidelines set by the EFL, because ultimately we need all our players available to be able to be successful. So we'll do whatever we can to ensure that.
Thomas Frank yesterday called for a suspension of Premier League and League Cup. Plenty of EFL games are off as well. Do you feel disruption is inevitable, and how important is it in particular for Newport to play the game on Boxing Day against Forest Green?
I think we have to be respectful of the current situation, and we'll be guided by the guidelines of the government and the governing body. I'm desperate for the game to be on Boxing Day because we could potentially have 5,000 to 6,000 people there supporting our team, and from a fan's perspective, it'll be amazing. And hopefully, I am hopeful that takes place. But again, we still got to then follow the current guidelines in place of what is set, and hopefully we got all the players available that we need.
So all you can do is stick to the protocols and just hope, really, isn't it? Given the spiraling outbreaks.
Correct. And that's all we can do, Rob.
And I must ask you: do you feel disruption is inevitable, or do you still feel football can go on? You wouldn't want to see a suspension or a break of any sort.
Well, the most important thing for me is first of all, my players, their families, my staff families' health, and that's the most important thing. And above all else, we all love football, and football motivates us and drives us. We love the game, but family is the most important thing. So we need to ensure safety of everybody. So
what about Rochdale then? They don't lose many at home. They're not winning too many either.
No, their home form's not particularly great. But if you look at their stats, they've got the 4th highest expected goals in the league. So, and they've got the one of the highest amount of possessions in the league. So their results haven't quite followed their performances, if that makes sense. So they've let in more goals than they conceded. But from what I've seen and what Wayne have seen and my staff have seen, they're a well-organised, well-coached team, and I wouldn't expect anything less from the manager they got with the experience he's got as a coach. So it's going to be a real challenging game for us. It's going to be, I think it'll be a real technical game, in my opinion, with the shape that they play. They play 3-4-3. We play similar to that. So it'll be an interesting game.
Robbie Wilmot said that he felt on the back of the 2 comeback wins at home, Newport were now being noticed in the league.
Do you want me to answer that, Rob? Was that a question?
Do you think do you feel you're making a mark? That's what I mean.
Yeah, as you know me by now, Rob, I'll be humble enough to say that I'm not looking at what other people think of us, and I'm respectful of what the guys in the league might think, but we have to be conscious of that. We go game to game and follow our processes to ensure that we can get the performances right.
And it is providing everything goes on, a lot can happen over this next 2 weeks now, can't it?
Yeah, we got a lot of games in this period of time. So I think we can talk about COVID and we can talk about what if and this and that. And I keep saying it's game to game. And we're just going game to game to ensure that we can do the best we can possibly do.
James, I wish you all the best for tomorrow. Safe trip.
Thanks, Rob.
Morning, James.
Hi, Chris. You okay?
Yeah, not bad. Obviously, shame for Alex. Opportunities. It comes one man's disappointment leads to another. I know Timmy's been the outside of the squad recently. Well, even Jermaine Hilton. There's people there that need to grasp this chance if they get it now.
Yeah, there's an opportunity for them now. So it was the same. The best example so far for me has been Lewis Collins. So how he was on the subs bench, then not involved, then back involved, then made his mark, and he's the example set really that there's always an opportunity, and I promise that to the players. You know, no matter what happens, whether selected or in the 18 or not, that they'll always get the correct training that I believe they deserve and treated like the rest of the guys.
I guess this shows the value of it's probably arguably too big a squad, but it is a big squad that, you know, you lose Kevin Ellison and Fish, and then you've got these options to come in.
Yeah, and we lose Scott Bennett as well for the weekend. So there's 3. So we've got options available. There might be a few young lads involved on the bench. We don't know yet. We've got to see how training goes later on. But it's always a collective, and I emphasise that massively. It's a collective effort of the team and the staff and everybody at the football club.
On Timmy, he's had to be patient. These other loanees have sort of had grasped their chance, but he's, because of the form of the strikers, I guess that's why it's happened. What have you made of him?
Yeah, Timmy's a lovely lad. Still got a lot to do with regards to how he sees he wants to be as a footballer. He still feels he needs to develop, and like every other player, needs to develop and meet his potential. What he has got is athletic prowess that not many have got. So it's us trying to nurture him to get his technical capabilities and his tactical understanding to make sure we can try and get him in the best possible shape.
You mentioned the collective, and some players have been really shining these past couple of weeks, and noticeable. One man, James Clark, just goes under the radar with what he's been doing. How important has he been to just keeping things ticking along?
Yeah, I said to the three centre halves on when we debriefed the game earlier on in the week that I said I didn't give them enough praise and credit after the game to how they performed, because you look how we built the play through James, through Matt, through Mickey, and you include Joe in that as well in the build-up. I thought they were phenomenal. And you look at how in transition they ensured that Port Vale couldn't enforce their game by ensuring we locked on well with their centre forwards and ensured we stopped their play at source quite quickly with that counter press and locking on that. They Clarkey and the rest of the lads were superb.
He's really sort of grasped his, because he came in, there were probably other more high profile signings, I'd guess, than him when he arrived this summer, but he's been a mainstay. What do you like about him?
I think he brings a bit like Scott, when I talk about Scott, and also Mickey in this as well, is that he brings a steeliness and experience to the league. If you look at our back line, if you like, if you include Joe and the three centre halves, and if you include Robbie, and you put Ed in that as well, and Scott, that bottom base of our team is full of experience. And then the top end of the team is full of youthlessness and energy and that enthusiasm. So it works really, really well in that sense. And I think that's something that is not by default, it's by design. And I'm really pleased, and the staff are really pleased with how that's worked.
He's also one of the best at buying the coach killing fouls, I think, James Clark, when he just manages to get clipped, one of those.
He does.
There we are. That's plenty for me. Cheers for that.
Thanks,
Cheers tomorrow. Oh, are you're travelling up? You're travelling up. It's an overnighter, is it?
Yeah, today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.